England and France. What do you think are the challenges that are faced by people of Indian origin in those colonies which are non-English speaking, or former colonies which have been non-English speaking, for example, people in French territories and even in Dutch colonies?
Frankly speaking, I know that the Indians in Mauritius have kept their traditions completely, thoroughly, and so have people to an extent in Trinidad and British Guiana and so on. But language has not been a barrier. Okay, they could not be understood in the initial stages, but they have adapted to the language of those colonies. In Mauritius today, in the schools, we are teaching Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, all these things are being taught in the schools. It is not the same in the other colonies, but the awareness is now coming that there has to be some connection. The Hindi films have played a great role in people wanting to know the language all over the world. And Bollywood has really brought Indians together in its own way.
Okay.
You know, through the films.
That's right.
And so on.
That's right.
Well, I don't think now people are losing touch with India, but definitely yes, in the French colonies and the Dutch colonies and all, it is much less, right, because they had no temples, they had no schools, they had no facilities of keeping up with the mother tongue or the traditions as such. Right. But now it's coming up. That awareness and the awakening and all is coming up. So it's never too late. Whereas with the Danish settlement of Saint Croix, it's amazing when you go through the records to find out how they pleaded and how they wanted men to go there to work in their settlements in Antigua and other places, and how eventually they sold their islands to United States with the Indians as well.
Okay.
I mean, these are fascinating records that you won't get unless you go through these archives.
All right.
And I've spent all these years at my age.
So the country got sold, and
yeah,
these people became English speaking from being Danish speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the Dutch territories? There has been a linguistic...
Suriname is making great efforts to be back with India and build the bridges again. Is making great efforts, and that's very commendable, yes.
Right, and there is a proposal from the Surinamese government to do something at the in Calcutta, near the Bhawanipur depot.
No, it's not near the Bhawanipur depot. When I met with Dr. Singh last month at the MOIA, he mentioned that the Suriname ambassador had expressed a desire that the government from Suriname would be interested to put up a monument or a plaque or something at the Suriname Ghat on the Hooghly. But I have just been to that Ghat just a couple of months ago, and I filmed the whole thing. These are all wooden structures, wooden poles standing in the Hooghly River. It's been unused for the past maybe I don't know how many years. I don't think anything can be done there. It is muddy, it is dirty, the approach is very bad. It's just Garden Reach. Okay, and to come to Garden Reach from Bhawanipur depot, it's about 5 kilometers or so, and through congested roads and areas. I don't think it's going to be practical. The best thing is to have the Bhawanipur depot and have a museum for everybody to come there. And
that's a wonderful thought.
Yes.
And, yeah. As someone who grew up in Mauritius, do you think that your ancestors took a right decision in leaving for an unknown land?
When a decision is taken by anybody at that point of time, it is a right decision. When it becomes wrong is when you fail. It was a wrong decision to do that when you fail, okay? But they have succeeded. Right. So when they have succeeded so much, you can't say that it was a wrong decision.
Were there instances of people being cheated or duped into emigration by the agents by being told very colorful stories?
Of course.
We have heard these accounts, but this is only hearsay. But does your research also show that some of those people who were recruited were cheated or duped by these agents by being told very fancy stories about what they'll find on the other side?
There's a tremendous amount of inquiries done on account of kidnapping.
Uh-huh.
And how everywhere there was malpractices, especially in the cases of women, when they could not get the quota for sending the women on board on that ship that was chartered to take the immigrants. That agent of that colony would be paying demurrage for detaining the ship for a long time,
Right.
till they would get the quota of women, and how these kidnappings and these coercions took place and all. Young widows were targets, and how they were duped and how they were taken. But probably for them it was a relief, because here they were not getting a widow's life was not a life to be lived in India.
Right.
So it was probably a relief for them to go, but they went. But most of them changed their names, changed their religion, their villages' names, everything, and then they went. And when they died, the money that they had, the property that they had, eventually fell back to the colonies, because there were no claimants, there were no heirs in India or anywhere like that, unless they married and they brought up another family also. But malpractices continued throughout, kidnappings continued throughout, lengthy inquiries took place.
What kind of duping went on? What kind of stories did the agents sell to the gullible people?
You would say, like, for example, there is a case of when the railway started in 1854, and in 1856 there is a case of a man who recruited about 30 people, and they were sitting at the Raniganj railway platform waiting to board the train to come to Calcutta. And the agent, the recruiter rather, he had gone to fetch food to feed all these 30 people waiting here. While he had gone away, some other recruiter came and told these 30 people, come and take this train. We will reach you to Calcutta faster, to the same place. That fellow is going to be delayed. He said, you can come with me. And these people were gullible enough to go and follow somebody who went there. And when they reached Calcutta, and when that recruiter came, he found his men were not there. So he caught another train to come after a couple of hours. But then these people had reached Calcutta. And when they reached Calcutta, they were crossing the Maidan. From Babu Ghat, they were crossing the Maidan to go where they thought was going to be the Bhawanipur depot, which is meant for Mauritius, because they were recruited for Mauritius. There was a talk of taking them to Demerara, to the British Guiana. And they all sat down on the Maidan and they protested, no, we are going to Marich. We are not going to anywhere else, we are going to Marich. And the police came from Howrah, and there was an inquiry. By that time the recruiter came, and eventually they were detained at the police station the whole night till an inquiry took place. Then they were sent the next day to the Bhawanipur depot. Or things like this took place. And then there were other instances where women were taken and were asked, in Allahabad especially, there are cases where they were told, would you like a job to come and grind some corn? And the woman would leave her children with the neighbors and would go and say yes to earn a few paisa. They would go and sit down there, and instead they were locked up. And then the children and the family would be looking for them, they couldn't find them. And there were 6 women found in one place like that. And there was a big inquiry, and eventually they were released.